my name is Nicole, and my research is on craniofacial abnormalities and visible difference. What's wrong with your eye? I wanted to address this because it's the elephant in the room. Freak. Ugly. Repulsive.
Here at University of St. Joseph. And I have Marcus syndrome. That's the first time I've ever said that in front of a room full of people. This is a little scary. But basically what that means is when I was born, my eyelid and my jaw, the nerves were fused together. And so when I opened my jaw, so does my eyelid. And it was really tough growing up. I looked different. And everybody pretty much stared at me. And my parents did a really, really good job. They made it seem really, really normal. And it was great. My family was really accepting. But school was really tough. I would go to school and I would get a lot of questions. And being young, kids are just curious, and I understand that. But as you get older, the questions get worse, and they get a little bit meaner. And it changed how I saw myself. I went from being really, really bubbly and kind of happy all the time to ashamed of who I was. And I thought I had gotten over it. I thought that high school would be different. And it was. For the most part, I had great friends. I was in drama club. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to. But I was always really ashamed of what I looked like. And it was hard. But a year and a half ago, I got here, and I started social work and didn't think anything of it until I had a clinical supervisor ask me, "What's wrong with your eye?" And it was devastating. I didn't know what to say. Nobody had asked me in a really long time, and I didn't really know how to respond. But I tried. I said I was born with it, and the questions kept coming, and they weren't very nice. In fact, they felt really intrusive. And that's when I realized that even social workers don't really know how to deal with someone with a visible difference. So, with a long journey, I realized that I needed to accept who I was so that I could help other people in the same situation. I spent a lot of time with a really great mentor who's here, Dr. Kimberly Harding, who saved my life. Spent so much time talking to me and teaching me that I am so much more than my eye. I am amazing, and I can do so many things. And it doesn't matter what I look like. And that, honestly, because of the way I look, I can save a whole lot of other people. So I went from being very ashamed of who I am to telling everybody else not to be ashamed of who they are. And it doesn't matter what you look like, you can do whatever you want to do. And honestly, I realized today that I am truly beautiful because I have Parkinson's syndrome.
So that was a clip from the True Beauty celebration here on campus. It just happened in February. They asked me to speak and talk about my experiences living with a visible difference. Which leads me to my research. As I quoted, I look different and people stare. I want to look at the psychosocial challenges for individuals with craniofacial abnormalities. So the purpose of this presentation is to bring awareness into the field of social work to the psychosocial challenges for these individuals and give social workers a chance to understand and address these challenges clinically. So some of the specific challenges will be identified to gain an understanding for working in clinical settings with this population. This presentation will also provide an intervention for a therapeutic group setting for adolescents with a craniofacial abnormality, but it also can be adapted to individual and community use. Using my personal experience, combined with developing a professional use of self, this presentation provides an insight to an underserved and vulnerable population. So here's a little background on craniofacial abnormalities. They're conditions that are usually present at birth that affect the structure and function of an individual's head and face. What's really important about this is that it can affect anyone across any background, gender, race, socioeconomic status, really anyone. It can be caused by a multitude of different issues during development, such as hereditary issues, congenital issues, genetic mutations, and even birth trauma. So some of the examples for craniofacial abnormalities are cleft palate, Treacher-Collins, craniosynostosis, and many others. So where does social work fall in all of this? Craniofacial abnormalities affect 1 in 500 newborns in the US approximately each year. Through looking at the literature and knowing the psychosocial challenges, presently social work has yet to report on these challenges in the academic literature. As I looked through more journals, such as nursing and psychology, I found a little bit more on the psychosocial challenges and kind of how to work with them. It was exploratory research, but mostly being done in the UK. I couldn't find anything in the US, and nothing in social work. So I realized that social workers, with the gaps in the literature, have a lack of understanding of the psychosocial challenges that affect these individuals, and so I look to change that. Individuals with a craniofacial abnormality commonly report intrusive and insensitive behaviors from others, particularly during a first encounter. These interactions and behaviors include staring, whispering, pointing, laughing, startled responses, curiosity, advice, personal questions, aversion, ridicule, and avoidance from strangers. So I just want to put this out there. I want you to think for a second what it would be like. You walk into a mall or a grocery store and you're doing really mindless, meaningless things, shopping, whatever. And all of a sudden you hear a little child come up to you, "What's wrong with you?" Or you hear them go, "Mommy, Mommy, what's wrong with their face?" And the mom instantly goes, "Oh my God, honey, that is so rude," and looks at you, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And now all of a sudden, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed because of how I look. This happens pretty much every day. This is people who have a visible difference, this is their everyday life. So here's some of the psychosocial challenges. Self-esteem. Obviously, if you have people saying things like ugly and freak and repulsive, it's gonna take a knock at your self-esteem. It's pretty hard to pick back up because even if you try and build yourself up, you walk outside and society will continue to tear you apart. Peer relations. This has a big effect for school functioning, making friends. You know, you start in elementary school and, you know, kids are gonna just ask meaningless little questions, but they might not wanna talk to you. They might not wanna be friends with you. And then you get to middle school and it's really mean because everyone just wants to fit in and be popular. But then you get to high school and now it's relationships and it's, am I like not pretty or attractive enough to get asked to homecoming or prom? Then we have appearance anxiety. Appearance anxiety is developed by Dr. Nicola Rumsey. She's in the UK, the University of West England. She's actually the co-director of the Center for Appearance Research at the university. But she developed this term with her colleagues to kind of take these psychosocial challenges and put them together and address them as a diagnosable issue for people who have a visible difference. One of the other things is the unwanted attention. Like I said, you go out places and people are staring at you, looking at you. It makes you then avoid places that are unfamiliar, new situations, new surroundings, new people. And all of that could lead to depression. You start to isolate, you feel worthless, your self-esteem is shot, and that can lead to depression. So this is a book called Wonder. It is a fictional book, and it was the #1 New York Times bestseller. I just wanted to read a quick excerpt. It says, "I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, I have an Xbox. Stuff that makes me ordinary, I guess. And I feel ordinary inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other ordinary kids run away screaming in playgrounds. I know ordinary kids don't get stared at wherever they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have one wish, I would wish that I had a normal face that no one ever noticed at all. I would wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me and doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. But I'm kind of used to how I look by now. I know how to pretend I don't see the faces that people make. We've all gotten pretty good at it. Me, Mom, and my sister. Well, my sister doesn't see me as ordinary. She says she does, but if I were ordinary, she wouldn't feel the need to protect me like she does. And Mom and Dad don't see me as ordinary either. They see me as extraordinary. I think the only person in the world who realizes how ordinary I am is me. My name is August, by the way. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse. I read this for the first time, and that's the very first page, and I cried. Because that's how I felt in the moments growing up. Someone had put in words, even though this is a fictional book, someone had put in words exactly how I felt. And I shared this with friends and family and said, this is what I go through. And then shared this with other people and went online and saw other people with visible difference read this and said the same thing. So this had an impact even though it was a fictional book, and it's actually geared towards middle school students.
One of the biggest things that I had to deal with growing up was something that I'm pretty sure every single one of us in this room has dealt with before. Can you guess what that is? Starts with a B. Can you guys guess it? Boys. Bully. I know what y'all are thinking. I should have come. Why did I sit here with them? I had to deal with bullying a lot, but as I said, I was raised very normally. So when I started kindergarten, I had absolutely no idea that I looked different. No clue. I couldn't see that I looked different from other kids. I think of it kind of as a big slap of reality for a 5-year-old because I went into school first day decked out in Pocahontas gear. I was ready. I went in with my backpack that looked like a turtle shell because it was bigger than me. And I walked up to a little girl and smiled at her. She looked up at me like I was a monster. Like I was the scariest thing she'd ever seen in her life. My first reaction was she is really rude. I am a fun kid and she's the one missing out. So I'll just go over here and play with blocks or bullets. I thought the day was going to get better, and unfortunately it didn't. The day kind of got worse and worse, and a lot of people just wanted to have absolutely nothing to do with me, and I couldn't understand why. Why? What did I do? I didn't do anything to them. In my mind, I was still a really cool kid. So I had to go home and ask my parents, what's wrong with me? What did I do? Why don't they like me? And they sat me down and they said, Lizzie, the only thing that's different about you is that you're smaller than the other kids. You have this syndrome, but it's not going to define who you are. They said, go to school, pick your head up, smile, continue to be yourself, and people will see that you're just like them. And so that's what I did.
So that was Lizzie Velasquez. When she was 18, she was on YouTube, and she was looking for music. She was in college. She had just started her freshman year, and she stumbled across a video. It was an 8-second video labeling the world's ugliest woman, and she realized it was herself. And she read through the comments, and the comments said things like, oh my God, that thing is disgusting. Kill it with fire. She's now gone on to write 3 books and do multiple TED Talks. But she's one of the fierce advocates for anti-bullying for people who look different. So this figure was taken from the book CBT for Appearance Anxiety, which was written by Dr. Nicola Ramsey. And it just shows how negative reactions from other people can affect a person with a visible difference. So here's where my innovation comes in. I went to CCMC, Connecticut Children's Medical Center, and I met with a social worker from the craniofacial team. And I asked, are you aware of these challenges? I started describing them, and she said, yeah, I see this all the time. We have nowhere to send our patients. I get 10 minutes with them. So I actually put a list of who's on the team. The social worker is right at the bottom, and their job description is support families with coping strategies and resources. She said, well, that's really unfortunate because we don't really have resources to send them. We give them outpatient referrals, but nobody is really understanding the psychosocial challenges that these clients face. They're telling them there's more to you than that, and they're not looking at the fact that their depression symptoms, their social phobia, all of this is because they have a visible difference. So, I talked to them about starting a group for the adolescents on the craniofacial unit, ages 13 to 17. My rationale for this was just that in terms of identity formation, that's a very, identified in the literature as a very, very crucial time in development. So I want to really stress that, the innovative piece is not just to have a group, but it's the fact that it's going to be for the population that it serves. Because nobody is helping people who have a craniofacial abnormality. No clinician is out there addressing these challenges in a safe space where they understand. So my group will be using cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's actually a picture of the book that I was talking about before. But it's been identified as a model of practice that is effective in working with individuals with visible difference. So the theoretical framework would be to target the negative cognitions about their visible difference and help to reframe their thought process. It's also been suggested as the most beneficial psychosocial intervention by the researchers in the UK. This CBT-informed group aims to work towards gaining acceptance of their difference and teaching the individuals how to engage the world as all of themselves, as opposed to using their difference as their identity. Like you heard me say, I am more than my eye. And that's kind of the goal for the members of the group. I want them to see themselves as more than their disorder. So some of the group themes and goals. Overall, the theme is going to be promoting positive changes in cognition and behavior. It's going to create positive resolutions to any negative cognitions, whether it be, I look disgusting, I'm worthless, I'm never going to be as successful because I look different. And these are things that have been identified as real problems. I want to empower these group members to find their inner strength and utilize coping skills that are going to make these social situations more manageable, like practicing answering questions when people ask them, what's wrong with you? It's a lot harder than you think to answer that question, especially when you're very unprepared. Another overall kind of theme is I want to discuss the use of support systems and create a more inclusive environment because it tends to isolate you. These craniofacial abnormalities are rare, and so you don't always get to connect with someone who understands that. So it kind of creates this very isolated environment. And so to create your support systems and really build that, it'll create an inclusive environment, which then you practice open communication so that they can learn to share their feelings and build their skills with their support members. The overall goal of this group is building self-esteem and acceptance, finding their own self-worth and sense of identity as more than their appearance. Why is visible difference so important? So I was thinking about it, and I wanted to say, why should you care? And I realized, we find parallels to these psychosocial challenges in the caste system in India, where the color of your skin determines your social status, or African Americans' perception of beauty associated with the color of their skin. There are African Americans who believe that because they are darker, then they are less beautiful. And we've seen these same, very similar challenges in them, but they're not being researched with craniofacial abnormalities and visible difference. And these are within social work. So there is a need in the social work field to identify individuals with craniofacial abnormalities as an underserved and vulnerable population. So what's next? Well, I will be going on to write my dissertation on visible difference starting in the fall at the University of Alabama for my PhD.
How do you